Have you ever remembered a moment from years ago and felt the emotion as if it just happened? A smell, a song, a place. Suddenly, you're not in the present anymore. You're back in the past. Humans are the only species that live in memories. But why do we remember so much? Why do some memories stay forever while others disappear? And why does the past sometimes feel more real than the present? What is memory really? Memory is not a recording. It's not a video stored in your brain. Memory is a reconstruction. Every time you remember something, your brain rebuilds the experience using emotions, sensations, beliefs, imagination, which means something strange. Each time you remember the past, you slightly change it. Your brain is not replaying reality. It's rewriting it. That's why two people can remember the same event completely differently. Memory is not about truth. It's about meaning. Why the brain is obsessed with the past. From an evolutionary perspective, memory exists for one reason: learning from experience. If something hurt you before, the brain remembers it to avoid danger. If something made you feel good, the brain remembers it to repeat it. So memory is a survival tool, but humans took it further. We don't just remember what happened, we remember how it felt, what it meant, what it says about us. This is how identity is formed. You are not just living your life. You are constantly remembering who you are. Why emotional memories are stronger. Not all memories are equal. The brain remembers emotional events much more clearly. This happens because of a structure called the amygdala. The amygdala processes emotions, especially fear, joy, sadness, surprise. When something emotional happens, the amygdala activates. Stress hormones are released. The memory becomes stronger. That's why you remember your first love, your biggest mistake, your most embarrassing moment, but you forget what you ate last Tuesday. Emotion acts like a highlighter for memory. Why nostalgia feels so powerful. Nostalgia is a strange feeling. It's happiness mixed with sadness. We miss something, even if we know it's gone. Psychologically, nostalgia appears during moments of change, uncertainty, stress, loneliness. The brain looks back to the past as a form of emotional safety. The past feels familiar, predictable, meaningful, even if it wasn't perfect. So nostalgia is not about the past. It's about the present feeling unstable. The brain uses memories as comfort. Why some people live in the past. For some people, memory becomes a place to escape. They replay old relationships, old mistakes, old versions of themselves. This happens when the present feels disappointing, the future feels uncertain, identity feels lost. So the mind returns to when things made sense. But there is a risk. Living in memories can stop you from changing, growing, experiencing new meaning. The brain confuses memory with life, but memory is only a shadow of experience, not experience itself. The brain can create false memories. Here's something disturbing. The human brain can create memories of things that never happened. Experiments show that people can be convinced they met someone they never met, experienced events that never existed, lived moments that were imagined. The brain fills gaps. It completes stories. It prefers coherence over accuracy, which means sometimes your strongest memories are not real. They are just the best story your brain created. Memory and identity. Your personality is built from memory. Your beliefs, your fears, your preferences, your dreams all come from remembered experiences. Without memory, there is no identity, no learning, no meaning, no self. This is why people with severe memory loss say, "I don't feel like myself anymore." Memory is not just something you have, it is who you are. Why forgetting is also essential. We often think memory is a gift, but forgetting is just as important. If the brain remembered everything, pain would never fade, trauma would never heal, mistakes would never release. Forgetting protects mental health. It allows emotional recovery, psychological flexibility, personal reinvention. The brain deletes information, so you can move forward. So forgetting is not failure, it's adaptation. Living between past and present. Humans are the only species that live in the present. Think about the future and remember the past, which creates a paradox. We are never fully here. Part of us is always somewhere else, in a memory, in a thought, in an imagination. The real challenge of being human is learning how to use memory without being trapped by it, to remember, without escaping the present. You might think memory only looks backward, but in reality, memory is mostly used to predict the future. Every decision you make is influenced by what you remember, what you learned, what you experienced before. The brain constantly asks, what happened last time? And then uses that answer to decide what to do next. This means memory is not just a storage system, it is a simulation engine. The brain uses the past to imagine possible futures. This is why past failures create fear, past success creates confidence, past trauma creates avoidance, past love creates expectations. You are not reacting to the present, you are reacting to your memory of similar moments. Memory and expectations. Here is something subtle but powerful. Memory creates expectations. If something good happened before, you expect it to happen again. If something painful happened before, you expect it to repeat. So, memory shapes trust, relationships, self-esteem, ambition, motivation. This is why two people can live the same situation and feel completely different about it. They are not seeing reality. They are seeing their internal history. Memory and imagination are connected. Neuroscientists discovered something fascinating. The same brain areas used for remembering the past are also used for imagining the future, which means the brain remembers and imagines with the same system. This explains why we replay memories like movies. We imagine future scenarios vividly. We create stories about ourselves. Memory and imagination are not separate. They are two sides of the same mental process. One looks backward, the other looks forward. Both create your inner world. Why memory can limit us. Memory gives identity, but it can also create invisible limits. If you remember yourself as shy till you behave shy, unsuccessful implies you avoid risks, unlucky arrow you expect failure. The brain protects the old story. It resists change, not because change is bad, but because the brain prefers what is familiar, even if what is familiar is painful. So sometimes the biggest obstacle in life is not reality. It is the memory of who we think we are. The possibility of rewriting memory. The good news is, memory is not fixed, because every time you remember something, you slightly modify it. This is called memory reconsolidation, which means the past is constantly being rewritten by the present. New experiences can soften old fears, replace old beliefs, update old identities. You are not trapped by your memories. You are constantly editing them, even without noticing. The deeper truth about being human. Humans live in 3 dimensions of time: past, memory, present, experience, future, imagination. But psychologically, we spend most of our lives in the past and the future, very rarely in the present. So maybe the real art of being human is not remembering more, but learning when to stop remembering, when to stop replaying, when to stop identifying with old stories, when to allow new meaning to appear. So maybe memories are not meant to be lived in. Maybe they are meant to be visited, not as a place to stay, but as a place to understand who you were, so you can decide who you want to become. And if you're curious about how the human mind works, from psychology to consciousness to the stories we tell ourselves, don't forget to subscribe to Curious Humans, new videos every week, and I'd love to hear from you. Which memory from your past shaped you the most?